Yo, what's up? It's Funnel reporting in from Finland. Today we're going to take a look at Loupedeck CT and how it works with Ableton Live. Without further ado, I'll just get my hands dirty and show you what this bad boy can do. There's a whole lot of action and functionality here, so let's just go through all of this one by one, and I will also show you the customization software and how it works. So let's see what we have here. We got these dials. So these are great for rotation type actions. For example, here I'm moving the playhead around, and if I press down on this, it plays the song, because for these dials you can also have press actions, so it's nice. You rotate it and you play it. So that's how it works, and I will get back to this customization because you can customize these things to work how they should work for you. Then we have the wheel. This guy is pretty smooth. Obviously it's good for rotating. So as you can see now with this wheel, I've assigned this play head here, and I can also play the song. And I can have several pages worth of actions here. So it's all freely assignable. Like here I have a track selector. But let's get deeper with that later. So dials, wheel, and then I have these arrow keys, which work just like your normal arrow keys would. But down here, we also have a function key, which can be used to control several actions on these keys, because these keys are also customizable. So for example, I have put stop and play and arm here. So as you can see, play and stop. So when I hold down function key, and if you take a look at the software, I have recording there activated, and also here I have I can switch between the views like this. But this is all up to you, like how you want to use it. After this, it's good to know what these are. These are for workspaces. And for example, workspace 1, I've created this one to be editing and recording workspace, meaning that on this workspace I have several pages worth of actions for touchpads, dials, and the wheel. And other workspaces are behind these keys, and these are up to the user. Like you can configure these to be whatever you want it to be. Like for example, here I have workspace 6 is mixer controls, and here I have various scene and clip trigger controls. Here I have a browser, and I can control the views. So like somebody said, workspaces are like toolboxes for certain actions, like relevant actions in one place. So you customize these to be your dream profile. And how it works, let me show you. I'll go to this editing software. So here, let me show you. For example, I'm taking a look at workspace 1, touchpad page 1 here. So let's say that I want to take this out. Create fade is on this pad. I'll just drag it out. If I want to put something else on the pad, I can just go through the actions that are available, or I could just search. Let me search for what do I get for a clip, and you get all the actions that have the word clip in them. For example, insert MIDI clip, I could put it there. I know I already have it on one page, but for example, if I want to put it there, there it is. Boom. And you see these pages are here. Like, let me show you. If I go here and I'll swipe to get to the second page, you see here I have recording controls, punch in, punch out. Where I see the page here, this is the page 2. So you can freely edit and add these pages. So you can have as many pages as you want. And the same goes for dials, for example. Let me go back here and I'll see here I have select track and zooming and selecting and locators and stuff. I can see it here and I click on a dial. Now I am editing a page or pages for dials. So here I have zooming and selecting just this stuff that I see here now. So editing is very convenient in this way. You do it all in the editor. And also, like I said, for dials, you have rotation actions and press actions. Here you have rotation. So here is this is like the surface where you assign the rotation actions. You go for press, you have different press actions. So like I said, I have scrolling here. So I have assigned scrolling to this dial, but as for its press action, I have assigned play and stop. So that's why it moves the playhead, and when I click down on it, it plays it like this. And you can save your profiles, and you can have as many profiles as you want. If you want to save it, you just go to export and you export to wherever. For example, you have 8 gigs of space on the device, so you can save it there. And you can have different profiles for different uses if you want to. As for the wheel, let me see. Here you click on wheel and now you see all the pages that are done for the wheel. And let me show you some of the tools that you have here. Let me just go and add something. So I'll go to here, like I want to create a new wheel page. I click on plus, and here I see the available tools. Let me get, for example, let me go for this or this. I like this one a lot. So now I click on this. So this wheel has 4 different spaces, and you can assign different actions to these spaces. So I just gotta go for press action because I'm looking for press action for this wheel. Like you have rotation and you have press. So play is not a rotation action, so it's under press. So for example, play song, I could put it there, and whatever then you want to have, you could have on the other slots here. Like you could just browse this, and probably doesn't make any sense, but even if I wanted to have like a quantization control, there it is. Like it's all up to you, like how you want to use it. Now when I go here, and let me go back to software, and let me locate the wheel that I just did. There it is. Okay, I have a play and record quantization. That probably don't make much sense being on the same wheel, but this is my point, is like you want to assign the controls that you access most often to the places that are very easy for you to access. If I think that this wheel is trash, like it is, probably for my use, I just delete it and it's gone. By the way, I probably didn't show you how to assign rotation actions to the wheel, so let's take a quick look at that. I'll create a new wheel. It could be anything. For example, this. So you drag the rotation action here. So now once I have selected the wheel, I could, for example, take a list of all the actions that I have, get anything that I wanted to be here. For example, let's go for this left-right dial. This is pretty handy. For example, for moving clips. So now it's here. You don't see the name here because the space is reserved for all the actions that could be touch actions here, but you know it's here. So this is pretty handy, so you can just move things around. This is based on the grid. I also do have this on a dial, which is just easy to use. There's also another tool that I like for the wheel, which is well, I actually do have it here. It's a list tool here. So just a quick look at the tool here. Here it is. So you can put rotation type actions on the list, and here you just select what tool is being used right now. For example, scrolling, which uses the left right actions. So this could be used for anything really, but there you can just make a list of your own if you want to. So this is a very quick way for you to access different tools here. And then as for these keys, like I said, you can assign different functions to these keys behind the function key. Like you press the function key here, and you actually have two of them. So you first click on this, whatever element you want to assign things to, and then you see what has been assigned to these keys. So I could want to assign something with function like I have done. So I activate function. So I can see that global record is on A, function A, session record is on function B, stop is on C, play is on D, and toggling, arrangement, and session view is on key E, and clip and device view is on the save key, because those are the things that I want to access a lot, like I quickly showed you earlier. I want to play and stop. It's convenient. This view here is one of the things that I'm always switching 100 times a day, and now it's here because I want it to be here. And function and E switches between arrangement and session, and function and save switches between clip view and the device view. So that is it in a really quick nutshell as for editing. So you edit the elements or the buttons as you wish. You first click on whatever you want to go for, and then you just search for the actions and drag them in. And you have pages for touch pads, for example. I have quite a few pages here, and then you save it and you can import. And one thing I will point out is pretty necessary to understand. The layout that you get, the factory layout that you get, it is very, very full of stuff. There is a lot of actions. And you wouldn't be wrong in saying that it might take you a bit of menu jumping, because there is so much stuff. It's like a serving suggestion in a way. You have a lot of functionality here, but you don't have to use it like this. Ableton CEO, this is I'm paraphrasing, but I think he has said like no two live users are the same. Nobody would expect you to be 100% happy with this. Like you have to customize it and make it fitting for you. Now I'll just show you really quickly what I have. Obviously I don't want to go through everything because that will take 8 hours, but just to show you something that I have here. Okay, so let's go back here. I wanted to show you some of the useful things that I can do here. For example, locators. You can jump between locators and add locators. I already have some locators here, so let me play the song, and I'm turning the locator knob as I play, so it allows me to jump. Yeah, you get the point. This is very useful for me because whenever I work on music, I have these different sections in songs. And also I mix music for clients, and I always have different sections on song, and I have to jump between the songs. And so this makes it easy for me to jump. And you have selector here, so you can just select ranges and copy and paste. For example, like if I wanted to, let me go down here and duplicate it. There you go. You have undo, obviously, redo, loop. You can set the loop position, loop length. And if I select a range, like let me go back. Oh, I forgot to say this key here, it always takes you back to the initial pages of this workspace. So I'll just browse to whatever is not page 1. So when I press this, I get back to page 1. So let me select this range and I go to loop. It activates loop for the range that was selected. I have delete here, consolidate if I want to consolidate. Let me undo that. Most of the actions that Ableton Live has are available to you. Global quantize I have here on a dial because I pretty often have to use that. Tempo is here. Oh, track height, that's useful. And also, let me show you this. You can skip between clips on a track here. So this makes it kind of quick for you to just skip between the clips that you have. You also have a selection for this, so you will select the clips that are here. So it jumps over the clips and selects each clip. There is a ton of functionality here. And one thing that is very nice about dials, the default function for, like, the functionality for a dial is when you click on it, if it's a value that you can change, it gets back to default value when you press down on it. Here I have some recording controls and some of the utilitarian stuff, and you can also create pages, like page links. Like I have an editing page, and I have created a link for a page here. It says editing page. When I click on it, it takes me to the page that has editing functions. And here I have page links here. These are the pages in this workspace. I have all the pages for different controls, like touch pages. These are the pages that I have here. For you to see recording functions page, it is here. So if I want to, let me show you, I can add a page link here. Actually, yeah, I already have it here. I cannot add it twice. So, well, if I didn't have it there, let me just put it there, or it could be there. So when I go back here, you see, there it is. So it's very easy to add links to pages. So once again, that's one thing that makes you do less menu jumping, because you can create links to whatever pages are meaningful to you. So some other stuff that I have here, you can there's a variety of delete actions. General delete, like you go there and you delete whatever. And as you can see here, CT is not trying to eliminate mouse use. It's like a good companion to your mouse. Like, I'll get back to this later too when I show you some mixing functions. One thing, let me actually show you, is I think I deleted earlier. I had one thing I like to do is let me look for fades, create fade. So for example, if I have audio, I could do this even here. Like if I select the range here, I'm not using my trackpad, so create fade, it's easy like that. Utilitarian stuff is here, like optimum height, optimum width, just make it work as you wish. I even put some recording quantization controls on pads because they're only here. You don't have elements for these in live, so record quantization, they're here. So if I go for quieter note, you don't actually see it anywhere, but now if you go here, you see that it's been selected. You can turn it off. So that's like a really quick run through what I have on these dials. A few more things. Okay, I just want to show you because I'm pretty excited. So here I have a grid wheel. See, I'm turning the wheel and it changes the grid. You can also have them as press actions if you want to. And just for the show, I also have the locator controls here. I did show you that you can add and delete locators with this one dial. So I go here, click, add a locator, delete a dial. You can also have them here. And this wheel here controls the playhead, but you could also add moving to previous locator and next locator. As you can see, you could also have this as the rotation action. I'll just move on. I don't want this video to be massively long. So on workspace 2, I have device mode. Let me go down here and play this track. I have a synth clip here. Let me loop this part. So I'll just loop it. And I go and solo the track. So on workspace 2, I have a special dynamic workspace called device mode. And what it does is it reads the parameters, all the parameters of the selected device. For example, here I have the synth. As you can see, I have analog synth here. All the parameters of analog synth are here, shown on the screen. Let me play the clip. So a lot of the toggle actions show up on the pads. As you can see, I'm toggling the oscillator shape for oscillator 1. Let me find another page and let me locate oscillator 2 shape. Oh, there it is. So everything that the device has is here. If I want to get back to page 1, here I am. Let me find the filter. Okay, yeah, so filter is here. It's obviously on a dial because it's a rotation control. If I wanted to record this filter sweep, I can. I would just arm the record from here. Let me do it. Let me do exactly that. Okay, it didn't get recorded because I had not activated automation arm. So let me... User error. Let's do it again. So I'll go to device mode. I'm going to say a word about macros because there's a lot of stuff here that you might want to use with macros. So let me once again, let me arm it, play it, and turn the filter. As you can see, so there it is. So I'm going to zoom in a little bit. All right, so there it is. If I want to delete it, I could, for example, go here and obviously just, there it is. And I could undo everything. But one word about macros, because the thing is you will get a lot of parameters here and that may be exactly what you want because it will result in a lot of happy accidents because I'll be honest, there is so many parameters that we're not always aware of. So if I assign macros to this, like I'll group it and let me assign filter to macro 4. So now you already see the macros are here because CT is reading the device actively. So it may make sense to assign something to macros. Take a look at the CT now, like where the focus is and what it's showing to you. I'm going to macros. I immediately get macros here. I get the name, frequency here. So as you can see, whenever I change the focus, the parameters can be read. And you can also select the device with the wheel. But this is also pretty fast. And this also works with all third-party plugins. And what parameters of the plugin you are seeing relates to how you have configured the device with Ableton Live. That doesn't have to do with CT, but I won't get it to now because that has to do with Ableton Live and not CT. But device mode is definitely good for happy accidents and also precise control, depending on how you want to use it. Okay, let's push on. Let's take a look at the next dynamic workspace that you have here. It is clip parameter mode. As you can see, I'm seeing nothing right now. Let me click on a clip. Okay, so here I can set some parameters of the clip. So color, and let me show you one that is actually very useful to me. See, I'm turning the gain of the clip. Also see down here, this is useful to me because when I work on a song, I usually want to set the gain of some elements on a track. Like I always have a lot of small effects and stuff that I want to tweak later on when I get to mix the song. Also, I mix for clients, so I often need to do some small adjustments. So also you get transpose. So let me click on a clip, and as you can see, transposing is there. And here, you see, when I click down on the dial, it goes back to default. So you could have some fun here. One click. Oh, I got loop on. Let me deactivate the loop. Here. Right on. So, as you can see, loop works on wherever you have clicked last. Like you can unloop here, you can activate loop here. But anyways, back to the clip mode real quick. You do have basic clip loop start and end points. Loop position, like if I make it shorter, you can just move things around. Let me undo. Loop on off, warping on and off. Let me go for that. So now I can change the warp mode as I go. So if you want to mess with the textures of the warping a little bit on the go, you can. You can load this to RAM if you want to, so it'll take the load off your hard drive. One very handy feature is the clip skip dial. See, you can skip from a clip to another, and now I could set the gain of each clip, for example, like crank up this one here, then move here, raise this, and go here, and set the color for this one. You do also have this as a freely assignable action, so you can have it on any dial. So you can easily, quickly move between clips. There's also a skip select, which selects the clips, like, or the range between them. So this is not your typical scrolling, because this moves by the grid, but this one here jumps from a clip to another. This also works with MIDI notes. As you can see, I'm just turning this dial and it moves from note to another. And here you could then go and touch these notes. You could make them longer, for example, if you wanted to. And you also could select these, like I'm selecting one note here, and then I'm using the skip select, so it selects all the notes in a row, and then I could move them. I can also deselect things by just hitting these two keys, because this acts as ESC, so I can deselect. Okay, let's check out Workspace 4. This is one of my favorite things. So this is the clip launch mode. So let's see what happens. I'm moving. There's two things that I can do with the wheel. So take a look at the pads, for example. So this is a clip launch grid. So this here allows me, for example, to select the scene and the clip grid. As you can see, the name of the selected scene is reflected on the wheel. So let me play the scene. I didn't have any global quantization on, so I kind of messed that up. So I usually go for 1 bar. Let me just redo that. Okay. I was rushing a little bit, but you get the point. So it's very easy to select the scene and play it. So here you don't have to look at the screen necessarily, because you see the scene name. So if you're playing live, this could be a useful tool. But you can also obviously trigger individual clips. So here I have the Zeus break. The clip was playing. If I trigger it again, it'll stop. So So it is fairly handy, and as you can see, it's responsive, because when I move the grid, it gets updated immediately. Here you also have global quantize. So because in this view, it may be helpful to you if you play live and you want to go for like longer sections to make sure that you don't mess up or anything. You also do have a master crossfade here, you see. If you want to do fading between tracks, as you can see here, you can assign track to either side of the crossfader. And also here, like if you click down on the fader, it gets back to the default values. You can also mute tracks, which may be fairly useful to you when you play live. And as you see, the rotating the wheel here selects the scene, but if you function rotate, the track gets selected. So let me play these two drum loops here. So as a live performer, I know that may be pretty useful. There are other ways to mute tracks. I'll get back to the mixer controls as well. But that is in a nutshell for this clip launch mode. So what do I have on this here? I have a few like more manual controls here. I forgot to say that these 3 special dynamic workspaces, you cannot edit these ones, but everything else you can. Like the device mode, you cannot edit this, but it should serve your needs fairly well, I would say. Then you have this clip parameter mode. This you cannot edit. And also this clip launch mode is not something you can edit, but everything else, like all the workspaces, you can create as many workspaces as you wish. But these 3 are something very Ableton Live specific that read the parameters, and in that working mode you cannot edit it, but everything else you can. So this here is something I've created. Like I have select scene here, and on the same dial I had a very long global quantize. So anyway, let me do it again. So play. So this is just like a way less clip specific or scene specific. I've just made controls here. If I wanted to take something out, I'll just go to the software, and workspace 5 was the one that I was using here. If I wanted to take, let's say I don't want this to be here, it's gone. So very easy to edit. Same goes for the wheel. Like you can, all these for each workspace, you can have as many wheels and dials and touch pages as you want. So customization matters a lot. Number 6, I've created a workspace for mixer controls. So a few things here. Select track. As you can see, I'm controlling the level of the track. And dial, clicking down on a dial resets it to default. So this is great because in my music I do a lot of like fading out gradually, and when I record automation I always have to go back and like tweak it back. But this, with this, I don't have to. I just click on it and it is back to default. You have pan, master, and Q here as well. Crossfade is here. This is something I've created myself. It's not a dynamic workspace. You can do this if you want to on your own. Solo track. Let's take a look at this track here. Is this guy here. It's using drum rack. Let me solo this. So let's take a real quick listen to this. Let me actually loop the clip. Let me see the clip here. I think it's a little... So I want to make this clip shorter. So let me go to clip parameter mode. Let me make it 1 bar. Okay. Let me show you how the solo works for these pads. For example, I can control the levels inside a drum rack. So let me locate these drum sounds. Okay. So I can control individual drum track levels. This is important for me in my music. I love drum racks, and I can appreciate the control. Like I could mute this one track, this track here that's playing the low sound on the beginning of the clip. So I'm gonna go back and unsolo this track, the main track. See, this works in a very interesting way. Like I'm soloing the track inside a drum rack, and it doesn't solo the main track, but it solos the pad. Let me tell you, when I was playing live a lot, I always wanted to be able to solo this one track inside a drum rack. Like, for example, let's say you have a really busy drum loop and you want to just solo the kick and sort of mellow down with the energy. And this does exactly that. What do I mean? If I let's say that if I'm on the software, if I solo this track right here, intentionally I'm now soloing this with my computer. It may not be what you want when you play live, for example, but when I solo it with CT, it literally kind of mutes the other tracks inside a drum rack. So you see this track is not playing. So this could be very useful. You also do have sends. I forgot to say. So let's go back, and here I do have reverb, delay, chorus. So if I want to use sends, I have these on this second dial page. So as you can see, I'm sending this drum track to sends. Yeah, I'm controlling the wrong track, sorry. User error. So let me go back and select the track. So let's do it again. But see, when I click down on these dials, they reset. So even if I go crazy, I'll just da-da-da, there you go. This is one of those things that I was missing when I was playing live a lot. Like, you can dub and go crazy, but when you click down, it'll just reset. And that also works inside a drum rack. So if you have, let me show you, if you have, in this device I don't have them, let me just create a return changer real quick. And if I wanted to, let's add a reverb. By the way, I will show you a browser on the next workspace that can load things, but let me just add a reverb inside a drum rack. Let me undo that. Go here and let me add a long reverb to this guy here. Let me make it really big. And so you can use the send controls inside a drum rack. So let me actually change the track. Let me go for the more percussive sound. What am I doing here? I am sending this drum rack pad to the internal effect of the drum rack, because these send controls work for drum rack pads. So as you can see now here, actually you cannot see it because of the way Ableton Live works, but this send is sending the pad to this device inside a drum rack. On the main track, it sends it to this control, but inside a drum rack, it sends the send dials work for the internal effects. But also, you do have monitoring controls here that you can use. I'm referring to these, like if you're sending this track to master and the track is selected, and you click on like output routing type, it browses through the different routing types, so you can just, if that's something you want to do. Okay, one thing that I forgot to say about these, let me go back to arrangement. Even that action is here. I think I placed it, I got it here. Okay, so I work as a mixing engineer, and one thing that has been helpful to me is being able to see here, setting the levels. So when I mix a song, some of my clients send me like 10, 20, some send 50 tracks, and I'm always adjusting the level. So I did show you the clip gain control earlier, but I'm always setting the levels of tracks. So like this type of workflow is very easy for me. Like I can appreciate it. I mean, I click on a track and I'm setting its level here. These increments seem to be 0.4, which actually makes sense, because if you're doing 0.1, you're probably not hearing it. So you click on a track, and other hand is on the CT. I'm adjusting the levels. So this is one thing that I do a lot in my work. So this is not clunky at all. Like, I could use a mouse, but honestly, I do find this faster. I'll literally select the track and set the level. So one last thing, browser and the views on workspace 7 here. Let's check out the browser here. So let me click here, and you can show the browser. So I can show you that the order here reflects the actual element order in Ableton Live. So I have my favorite stuff, EQ, and then whatever. So it's literally the same. So if I want to go and preview sounds, let me go to samples. To preview an item, you just tap it once, and to stop the preview, do a function tab. Let me get something that might be interesting. I'm totally freestyling here. So to get back to where you were, to go back one step, you hold function and turn anti-clockwise, or alternatively, if you want to, you can just scroll to the top of the list and double tap this here. About loading things, let me see, instruments and analog. Let me go here. Let me find something. So let's say that I want to load this one. I literally have to double tap it. And now, as you can see, it was loaded to the track. If I want to load the instrument without a preset, as you can see, it has these weird brackets. I don't know what the name is. So if I want to load this in the default state, I hold function and double tap, and it'll load the synth in its default state. You do also have these manual controls for browser if you want to use them. You also have a cue control. So let me go back to the analog synth and find a sound. As you can see, using the cue doesn't stop the sound. That's one criticism towards Ableton Live software. Like, if you preview a sound and use this control, it stops the sound, so this doesn't do it. So it works. Also, what I have here is all these basic modules that you can, let me actually go here, so you can hide and show the mixer and sends and all this stuff. Overview, in and out, all these basic modules. So if you want to, you can have these in one workspace. All this is totally up to you, like automation mode. You can also use automation in clip mode if you want to see it here. It works. By the way, one thing that I forgot to show and mention is this home view. When I click here, you see I'm seeing my main workspaces on this screen. So this is very easy to use if you want to see your workspace layout here. Let's say I could be wherever, and I just want to see the home view. I'll just go here, and this shows you all the workspaces that you have. And you can edit this in the software. I'm looking at workspaces here. I click on home, and as you can see, this is where the workspaces reside. And here I see my workspaces. As we have learned before, you can just place things here in an order that you like. So there they are. Use it to your liking. Actually, you wouldn't even have to have workspaces on these buttons if you didn't want to, but it does make a whole lot of sense. So I'll take this workspace out of key 1, and what could I have on key 1 if I wanted to? For example, I have full screen mode. Put it on key 1, and now when I press key 1, I get full screen. So now there is no workspace on this key. You could use it for whatever you want to. By the way, one thing about these keys, actually, you can use them as keyboard modifiers. You see the symbols below the keys. For example, you see tab. So when I enter keyboard mode, these are now acting as keyboard modifiers. So tab does this. I know I have mapped this switch to here, but if you want to use tab like this, you can. And what else? You have For example, you have shift here. So if you used these keys and shift, you could select this way. I know there's a better way, and I showed you that select is here, but so you know, these can be used. And for example, you have this delete key. So let's say that I select this range and go here and just tap delete, it gets deleted, so it's pretty fast. Also, one thing about using this as a combo without engaging the keyboard mode is, let's say that let me undo that. So if I hold this and hit delete, it'll delete. Now when I let go, it will not stay in keyboard modifier mode. So quick delete is just hit these two. And then you can also type, for example, let me go to browser. Let me show browser on screen, and so I'm now doing a search on browser. So if I hit function keyboard, I could do a search. So there you see I'm now entering a search string. So I could do that as well. Oh, and one more nice feature here is some actions relating to your operating system. For example, let me leave Ableton Live. I click on Finder. So now see the CT. For example, I can now control my computer output level. And you probably don't see it on the video, but I'm actually adjusting the brightness of my iMac. So, and here there are some other things. For example, you can get to preferences and like, so it's nice to have. And I know that these things will be developed as well, but for now, it's been kind of nice to watch Netflix with this thing close to me, and when I have to set volume and brightness, it's a little luxury in a way. I like it. Alright, so to wrap this up, what's the takeaway here? Why do I like this device? I have no shame in admitting that being a music professional, and I've been into music for almost 30 years, I do like a good design, and this guy has it. Those who have been following me, you know, I like Apple. I like the design. You really cannot fault the design. I love Universal Audio. I like Odyssey headphones, and in some stuff that I can admit that I want to buy the best stuff that money can buy when it comes to things that I do every single day of my life. So this guy really checks all the marks on that field. And the compact size, like if it's not obvious at this point, look at the size of this thing. Like this is my hand. It's pretty much the size of my hand. So it's very compact, which you cannot say about all the controllers. And if it's not obvious at this point, you can customize things to your liking, which is the point of this device. You don't have to, and you probably should not accept the layout that you get. You just have to customize it. So that is the point about this whole thing. Let me hear about your thoughts in the comments, like what do you think about this device? And also let me know what software you think this CT device should be controlling next. I think this video came out way longer than I wanted to, but there was a lot to go through, and obviously I didn't show you everything, but I wanted to hammer home the point and the basic of how this device works. So thanks for watching, and till the next time.